Ready for this Shabbat, get ready for this time together. As we get ready for Shabbat, just a couple words of welcome. First, welcome, John. I want to thank you for being with us on this Shabbat. Some of you may be watching us from out of town if you were able to get to some safe place, far from people. If so, we hope you're enjoying the cool weather. If you're here, we hope you're able to, your backyard or with a good book or whatever, to in some way mark this weekend, this long weekend, this time together, but virtually, not necessarily. But we're glad you're here with us. We really are. Our prayers go out to so many who are ill. I want to mention Hans. Several of you wrote me this week. He's getting better. He's getting stronger. But he's going to wait one more week, and we really appreciate that. Before he joins us, and we'll welcome back his music, his playing along with your music. A shout out for those of you who are not able to see it on the Friday Shabbat blast. Do scan all the way down, because you don't have to read it all, but there are a lot of wonderful events. And one of those is Mamir, the Mamir group, Chamber Music, which normally does a concert for us at the end of June. Not obviously, they can't be here. He's not from here. He lives in another country, but he has prepared not only 3 virtual free concerts, but he prepared an 8-minute chamber concert, he and his wife. And the link for that will be on Monday's e-blast, Monday or Tuesday, whenever it comes out. So if not Monday, check Tuesday morning, and you will see that in the next Temple e-blast is a link to an 8-minute concert, just he and his wife playing for us in their living room. And it was just a neat thing, because normally he's always with us here at Beth-El. In return, whatever you can do to support him and the Mamir Chamber concert, which is normally here in Fort Worth. As our service begins, just a few words before we join in the Mishnah Berach, a few words about this week. This week is the Torah portion Balak. Last week was Korah. I want to share a word about Korah, because you could talk about Korah so much, but I want to talk about Korah in relation to Balaam and Balak, and just share a Shabbat thought as we prepare together. If you don't remember from last week, the rebellion of Korah is the rebellion of Aaron's cousins, I want to say. Aaron has just been given the new role for he and his sons as high priests for all time. And Korah and his followers complain that they're not going to get the rights that others will get, that they're not going to be also those ones to offer the sacrifice in the temple, to have a sacred position among the Jewish people. The followers of Korah, along with several other groups from the tribe nearby of Ruvain, rise up. 2 different rebellions join together. They challenge Moses' position in leadership, and the earth opens up and in a moment of rage swallows them up. The punishment for Korah and his followers, the punishment is the mouth of the earth, the mouth of rage, the mouth of impatience, the mouth of wandering, all of that pent up anger simmering about, some of it surely legitimate, perceived injustices, but in a moment of chaos, the people are swallowed up by their own intensity. And even as order is restored to the Israelites, it is order that comes at a cost. Story of Korah is the story of impatience and wandering and anger. Verklempt, the word in Yiddish, is strum, a rage that knows no boundaries, reaching the breaking point. I thought about Korah as the days, the hours blurred into days, the angry voices. Every single American seems angry. I know that's not true, but it feels like it some days, doesn't it? Cooped up, aimless, wondering when we'll get out, rageful. You see the voices on social media. You hear the rationalizations of lives spent saying to ourselves, that we don't need to hear the injustice and the anger and people stuck at home. It is the voices of the breaking point. And that is one set of voices. And I'm going to admit that I was there as well. There are days when if you can't avoid listening to the comments on Facebook or the comments on newspaper articles or the news or the people who've run out of patience with each other, and you're stuck at home and there's just a moment where you say, woe is me. And so I did something about it. Last Sunday, I just tried to call some of the people in our congregation who were ill. I tried to step outside of myself. And it may not sound like a happy thing, but talking to some of our members who are recovering from illnesses, who are stuck home alone or with only one other family member, who are wondering when they will get better, their caregivers who are bearing and carrying that burden all by themselves. One of my calls was to an Antoinette Baker, who I don't know if she's listening tonight and probably embarrassed I'm talking about her. Antoinette, one of the newer members of our congregation, taking care of her husband, Graham, who is struggling in some of these most challenging days of cancer, who cannot leave her house if she's going to take care of her husband, who doesn't know when she will get out and does her work from home, who sits with him and he with her day in and day out, trying to ease his pain, this love of her life. And when I asked Antoinette what she is doing to take care of herself, she said, I am sewing children's masks because the masks we need to wear don't sit properly on children's faces. And so I am sewing as many masks as I can get fabric for to fit children's faces so that I can turn them over to all of those children who can keep themselves safe, be it at hospitals or other places. I am donating them. She was using her sadness to create life for others. Moved out of feeling sorry for myself and in awe of Antoinette and her courage and her sense of wonder and giving, I thought about this week's Torah portion. If last week's Torah portion is the Torah portion of anger that knows no destination and swallows us up, this week's Torah portion is the story of Bilam and Balak. And Balak is a king, a Moabite king who sees the Israelites traveling through the desert, displacing nomadic communities on their way to the promised land, frustrated like us, protesting to Moses like us. And Balak says to his assistants, go get me Balaam the prophet. He's not a Jewish prophet. Get me Balaam the prophet and get him to go to a mountain and get him to curse the Israelites so they will not lay waste to my community over which I rule. And they offer Balaam money, riches. Balaam wants to go, but he has a dream, a voice of God, and then he says to them, I can't go. I can only say what God puts in my mouth. Much as I would like your riches, I can only speak the words that are given to me. Over and over and over, they encourage him to go. They offer him more. Finally, God says, go up to the place and say what I tell you. So Balaam gets on his donkey. Some of you know the story. He continues on his way, and God sends a fiery angel, but only the donkey sees the fiery angel, and Balaam just beats and beats and beats this poor donkey. Until finally the donkey talks and says, I'm your faithful donkey. Don't you trust me? What have I ever done badly to you? And then Balaam suddenly sees the fiery angel with a sword, and then goes on to bless the Jews 3 different times, even though Balak's assistants keep saying to him, no, try again, say something different. The amazing thing to me is that Balaam doesn't react with surprise when the donkey talks. He must have lived in incredible times. He doesn't say, oh my gosh, the donkey talked to me. He just says, okay, good point, but you weren't listening to me. I'll listen to God. That's incredible. That's a prophet who either lives in an extraordinary time or has forgotten how to see the awe of God. Whether it's the awe of God in a donkey or the awe of wonder of God in other people's acts. And so we get these two Torah portions together. We get the rage of Korah, and the rage is real, and the rage of being stuck at home, the rage of injustice in our world, the rage of people who won't try to listen one to the other to hear the voice of God. And then we get the wonder of Balaam and the donkey. The wonder that says, when you are at your moment of greatest anger, and when you are at your moment of greatest self-pity for yourself, can you be open to the voice of wonder and God in others? For only through acknowledging the voice of wonder, only through seeing that the voice of God can appear anywhere, in people who are different from us, in people who don't agree with us, and really hearing them and understanding. Only when we move from the earth that swallows us up to the possibility of God in every person and every place, only then is there any hope for healing. And that is my prayer for each of us, for myself when I am cooped up, for each of you when you've had enough, that you can somehow break through, that on this Shabbat we can remember the pain of others, that we can hear their voices, that we can be inspired by acts of selfless giving, just as Antoinette does when she picks herself up from her moment of greatest despair and creates masks like so many others are doing in our congregation to bring life and healing to others. That is my prayer for all of us. May we gain the strength to turn off the voices that bring rage, but to hear God in the voices that call out to be listened to. As those two go hand in hand, out of our own self-pity, may we rise up to hear wonder and awe in others that we have not seen God before.
Amen.
We offer a prayer, a reminder that if you do wish to have the prayer book near you, you can now run over to today's e-blast. You can go down to that section of the blast. You can click on next to, I think it's Friday night services, the place to get the prayer book. It will ask you weekday or Shabbat. Go to weekday, and there you will find the page number in brackets, page 371, as we call out the names of Annette Dover, Charlotte Fiwis, Stacy Lewis, Jeffrey Mark, Maria Schoen, Graham Baker, Elliot Blumberg, Katrina Joy Rogers, Eddie Sankary, Debbie Friedman, Claire Brunhild, Mike Fox, Ann Westerman, William Westerman, Robert Bogan, Ellen Alcott, Christopher Long, Brendan Levy, Leslie Arnoff, Ted Mack, Karen Delavan, Lillian Deutsch, Peter Levy, Howard Katz, Sam Kleinman, Christine Levy, Jenny Solomon, Hetty Collins, and all who are in need.
Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habrecha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habrecha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
As we prepare for Shabbat, we turn to page 120. I want you to take a moment. I want you to take a deep breath and think about how you're going to bring Shabbat in. Not just Shabbat, but a 4th of July Shabbat. Maybe you've got the ingredients to bake a s'more in your oven if you can't go out. Maybe you've still got a marshmallow left or a hot dog. If you do have a hot dog, maybe you're going to color a piece of paper, a newspaper, and wrap it up and do something just to remind yourself it's the 4th. If you are able to leave your home, I would say tomorrow maybe you'll drive your car far from other people, but find a good perch to watch the fireworks on your own downtown or turn them on your TV. Maybe you just have a pint of ice cream in the freezer and you've been holding out. And if you do, kind of grab a spoon, especially if you're home alone. There are advantages to being home alone. If you are isolated at home, I officially give you permission as the rabbi to pick up the phone and have the most unhealthy pint of ice cream delivered. And just savor a taste of that incredible, whatever it is. I don't want to describe my dream flavor. I want you to find yours. And if you can't do that, maybe it's just getting some peaches delivered and biting in. This is the season to an amazing fresh peach and remembering what it was like when we're usually at a picnic or a barbecue with the sun. We've got the sun. So if you get the peach or the ice cream, just stick your head out the window. And for a brief moment, imagine what that picnic is like or that barbecue and take a moment and savor the 4th and savor Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech alam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And as we prepare for the blessing over wine, Kabbalat Shabbat, the ceremony of welcoming Shabbat, we will join in the blessing over wine on 123 and then the Motzi. And then from there, we'll sing some songs into the Baruch Hu. You know there are many prayers and songs for Kabbalat Shabbat. Tonight, I want to give you a way to welcome the Shabbat bride into your house. Ready? So if you live with somebody else or you're not quarantined, I want to invite you in the next 5 or 10 minutes to turn to them and say, you know what? I love you. You might not have said it all week. And if you're home alone, I know there's somebody somewhere, a friend, an aunt, an uncle, or somebody. You can text them. The rabbi is saying go text them. Sometime during our Kabbalat Shabbat, the next 5 minutes, pull up your phone and say, Shabbat Shalom, I love you. And guess what? If you don't do it often, they might text you back and say, are you okay? I'm just checking. I want you to welcome Shabbat by telling someone you love that they matter to you as we continue with the blessing over wine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen, amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kosho be'ahavad uvratzon, hinkilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra קודש זכר לציון מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מן כל העמים ושבת קודשך מאהבה וברצון הנחלתנו Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen. L'chaim. And as always, if you have not eaten yet, or you have bread,
I'm going to get you a real challah. I feel like you've been...
exactly. It's good. Please join me in the motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Amen. So this week I have chosen Shalom Alechem. We haven't sung it in a while, and this is just our traditional gold farb setting, so please join me. Shalom Alechem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Alachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Alachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nil Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Alachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedkem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Halakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Amen.
Amen. We continue on page 146. Entrances to holiness are everywhere, everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without God's presence.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed.
As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me too, for the mystery of Torah beckons. Yes, we struggle with its truths. You meant Torah for us, each of us, but did you also mean the struggle? Please don't let me struggle alone. Help me, help each of us to understand, to be wise, to listen and know. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Page 152. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you this day. Teach them to your children and talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside of your gate, for they are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God, who led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Together we sing the song of freedom.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bar kodesh, norat ha'ilot osef ele, norat ha'ilot osef ele. Malechut ha'ara uvanecha, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze lianu ve'amru, ze lianu Anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch leolam vaed. Adonai yimloch leolam vaed.
God, prepare for us as we return. Watch us as we go forth. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu. O God, spread your shelter of peace over us, over all who are home alone or in communities and fearful of this virus. V'al kol amo Yisrael, over all of Jerusalem, all of Israel, Yerushalayim, and over all who are in need. Amen.
V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam beni uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam neolam ki shet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz uvayom hashvi shavad vayinafash.
Adonai Sivatai Tiftach, O God, open our mouths and our lips that we may declare your praise.
Adonai Sivatai Tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'nochech HaKol, V'tzocher Chazdi Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Gula livnei b'neihem, L'man Shemo be'ahava, Melech Hozer, U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avram, Ezrat Zara, Atah Gimor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol atah Rav leHoshia, Mechachel Chaim bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol berachamim rabim, Zomech noflim v'rofei cholim, U'matir asurim, U'mkayem emunato lishenei afar, Mi chamocha bal gevurot, U'midom melach, Melech memit umchaye, U'matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atal hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol, Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, V'chroshim kol yom yehlu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God.
We take a moment for our own silent reflections as we look at this beautiful place.
as we spoke with those who joined us earlier on Zoom to light candles and say Kiddush, there's been so much fear about breath and breathing and spit going around that it's nice to sometimes be reminded of the Ruach Elohim, the creating breath, the unseen force of God that moves among us. And so I would like to present Ruach Elohim. Ruach Elohim, may God's Spirit be with you. Ruach Elohim, keep you safe from harm. May the love of God be your shelter from every storm. Yevarecha Adonai, Yishmerecha, Ye'er Adonai, Panav Elecha Vichunecha, Yisa Adonai, Panav Elecha, V'yasem Lecha Shalom. Ruach Elohim, may God bless you and keep you, bring you to the light and safe from harm. May the love of friends be a shelter from every storm. Yevarecha Adonai, v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai, panav elecha v'chunecha, Yisa Adonai, panav elecha, v'yasem lecha shalom.
We continue with Aleinu, page 586.
Aleinu l'shabeach le'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד.
On that day, may God's name be one. May there be an awareness from all of God's sovereignty. As we turn to 598 for Kaddish, I want to mention 3 more names added to our list this week. One is Jim Bressert, who loved to come here. They live pretty far out, and they couldn't drive at night. So Jim would come when it was an early service like this during the summer. And Jim and Harry loved to come to services, but it just wasn't safe. And he always had a smile, Jim. He was always happy to be here. He and Harriet, we offer our prayers to Harriet. And he was, on this July 4th weekend, we have to point out a man who served his country proudly. And he was buried at the National Cemetery near Dallas and Grand Prairie by Rabbi Mecklenburger on Thursday. We also want to add the name of Jerome Eckstein, who was born in Poland or Russia, I don't know the order, but fled, ended up in Siberia, eventually came to Israel and then to the United States, and finally Fort Worth to be near his children. And we offer our prayers to his family, who was also laid to rest in Greenwood Cemetery a few days ago. And finally, a word about Lester Baum. Some of you will know Lester Baum, who I think passed away just this morning. Lester lived in Dallas, but he was born and raised and confirmed in this temple. And it's a remarkable story because Lester, just a few months ago, said to Louise Appelman, I need to do something for the temple. I want to fix some of the landscaping. And Louise kept pushing me, and I kept saying, Louise, there's a pandemic. Nobody's coming by the temple. Summer is coming. What is the rush? And Louise and Lester kept pushing. And so Lester paid for completely a whole section of the eastern gate where you would come in at the High Holy Days, so that it looks really beautiful now. Some of the landscaping and the gardening and the flowers and the greenery. And thanks to Louise and especially to Lester, because they pushed and pushed, and 2 weeks ago on Father's Day weekend, Rabbi Mecklenburger and I, at a safe distance, met Lester and his children and one of his grandchildren, and we dedicated that section of the garden. Having said that, nobody thought, and Lester was in pretty good health, that Lester would pass away. So when you do come back to temple, or when you drive by and you see that there is one patch on the eastern side that looks much more beautiful and well-groomed than the rest, so that our children can play there and congregations can walk through there, know that it is Lester. This congregation was very, very close to his heart, and he thought it was important to bring some beauty back to the temple that brought beauty into his life. And so in addition to those three names, we add in this 30-day period of mourning Janelle Sterry, Ellen Mack, Eliezer Les Deutsch, Dorothy Shelby, and we add the Yortzites, the anniversaries of their deaths, of Yetta Amstatter, Prina Ben Avraham, Martin Bellett, Rose Bernstein, Pauline Melis Boardman, Marcus Crystal, Sharon Finkelstein, Jay Fried, Marianne Einzig Fried, Sophia J. Fried, Wolf Friedman, Brad Gaber, David Gaines, Bella Goldblum, Sadie Gross, Isaac Kleinman, Alan Klotzman, Irving Klotzman, Morris Lipschitz, Esther Karina Myron, Harry Pink, Eleanor R. Posnick, Ruth S. Rosen, Anna Bell Rosenthal, Herbert Rothstein, Marianne Rubinson, Bernice Crystal Selman, Herbert Tuchen, Ann Oderberg Varvero, Milton Meyer Wheel, Stanley Weiner, Ida Ziv. As we join together, Yitgadal, V'yitgadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'yalmad Divrach Yeruteh, V'yamlich Malchuteh, B'chayechon, V'yomechon, Uv'chayed Kol Beit Yisrael, B'galal V'zman Kari V'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Leolam U'olmeil Maya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal, Shmei D'kudsha B'richu, Leila Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbachata V'nechamata, Damiram V'yalmal V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. May God bring wholeness and healing to all who are in mourning, here and wherever they may be. On this July 4th weekend, our closing songs will be found on page 678 and 680. John will tell us which comes first. A word about them. Hatikva was written as a poem by Naftali Imbar, who was born in Poland, made his way to Palestine, passed away in New York. He wrote these words in the 1870s. They were picked as the anthem of the First Zionist Congress and eventually as the national anthem in Israel. And of course, God Bless America, written by a nice Jewish boy named Israel Balin, Irving Berlin in 1918, eventually rewritten, but written as a song in honor of the soldiers in World War I. Both of these songs are written by immigrants. They are written in honor of the dream of these places, in honor of those here and in Israel who fought for a dream. And so we sing these songs not in some sort of blind, patriotic, mindless way, but in a very thoughtful way by two different immigrants who had dreams for Israel and dreams for America. Let us be honest on this holiday in honor of all who fought and gave their lives and dreamed of a place. America is not yet great, but it could be. It could be if each of us can listen and talk and dream and listen to the voices of others. These are songs and prayers of dreamers.
Kol od balevav benima nefesh Yehudi omia ulfate mitzrach garima alin letzion Sophia od lov davatenu hatigva bat shodabayim liot amchofu viarsenu eretz Sion verushalayim Leotam chofshi be'artzenu Eretz Sion Yerushalayim. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Happy 4th. Have a wonderful Shabbat,
Shabbat Shalom.
4th of July weekend.